everyone, welcome back to our second episode of Malaysia Blockchain Week podcast. And this time around, we have a second guest, which is Josh. Welcome. It's Noel here. I'm the managing partner of Activate, also the organizer of Malaysia Blockchain Week. So Malaysia Blockchain Week is at our third episode this year. It's going to be at WTC KL on 29th and 30th of July itself. First of all, let us start the podcast with a short introduction for Josh. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Short. I'm the ex-president and founder of Sunway Blockchain Club.
So Josh, what was your kind of like gateway into the Web3 community?
So I started off pretty early on, around 2017.
Wow, that's OG.
Yeah, I mean, I was a holder since 2014, but...
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, yeah.
What was the price back then?
I don't even remember at this point.
So I got in 2016. The price point was about $800. So I would foresee that maybe Josh that time is just around 300 to 400.
Yeah, it was definitely around that price range.
Oh my God. Are you still holding it?
No. I mean, I still hold Bitcoin, but not as much as I'd like to. After which, about 2017, I started going more into smart contract development. I mean, I'm a programmer by background, so I wanted to know more on how things work in the back. It's usually always seeing people trading, people building and all that, but I want to know how it actually works. So then I started doing smart contract development. And from there, I was like, hey, how much further can I go? I used to do web development, regular Web2 things, and I started applying for Web3 jobs, Web3 contracts. And from there, I got my first position. Sky's the limit.
Congrats. But back in 2014, you were still a student, right? But how do you get into Bitcoin? What was your exposure to?
I used to be on Reddit quite a lot, and I used to help people out with their assignments, people overseas, and generally just, be exposed to the internet at a young age. So
just a new thing suddenly found out through internet.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how do you start like the Sunway University Blockchain Club?
That happened around 2023. Is when we got the idea for the Sunway University Blockchain Club. And it started off with a vision from Henry Lee. He was one of the people working at iLabs at the time. And he came to me and he said, hey, you're familiar with blockchain, blockchain tech and all that. And he said, why don't you start a University Blockchain Club? That way we can kind of bring more students in. I've always had this passion for creating communities as well. Before that, I used to run a lot of game-related communities with thousands and thousands of people. So for me, this was quite a familiar adventure. And I also love teaching people, bringing people on board to whatever's trending at the moment. I thought this was a perfect time. I'm in the middle of my master's. I'm still writing my paper, but hey, I've got some free time. Let's give it a shot. About 2024, I worked with Asselbeck, shout out to Asselbeck, and we formed the club.
So was it the first blockchain club in Malaysia?
It wasn't the first. We had APU BCC before that, so Asia Pacific University Blockchain Club. And it was the current president was Yudish. And Yudish actually played a big part in helping me start up the Sunway University Blockchain Club as well. He mentored me. He told me, they've been running for about 2 years or so. And he basically gave me a run through on all the things that went wrong, everything I should look out for when I started. So I essentially got 2 years worth of knowledge before I even started the club. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we, grew exponentially. Right.
I think it's a lot of guidance or things that they already felt wrong and they pass you the lessons, right? But after starting the SBCC, right, what was the biggest challenge or things that kind of is there any restriction from the university itself?
The university didn't really have any problem. I'd say the biggest issue we had was with the community. Now, we're talking about 2023 when everything about crypto was hype, It's either someone starting some token, somebody's getting scammed, money games, this. And I've always felt like people don't know the truth behind blockchain and crypto. Now, crypto itself is a very small part in what blockchain technology really is. The biggest problem is trying to convince people that it's not what it looks like on what the media portrays. And that's actually one of the main reasons why I started the club. It is to basically show the nice side of blockchain technology, the beautiful things behind the tech, the possibilities it can do, and all these different things. So yeah, one of the hardest parts was actually convincing everybody that, blockchain is not so bad.
Yeah.
Once you get to use it, it's actually pretty cool.
I think kudos to Josh and the team. It's super brilliant, like how you guys built SBCC. And with the Identity for Malaysia Blockchain, we're kind of like in touch with most of the blockchain clubs nowadays. Like we have more from Taylor's, from Monash, from Thai UMT, and from the other government university as well. So I think every single one of them share us that the common problem is that there is no one set of playbook, or maybe there is kind of like lacking support from more on the economic side. So how do you see about this problem, and how SBCC used to kind of like overcome these kind of like economic problems?
I think that's true. I'll touch on the playbook part first. Essentially, we kind of had to like rough it out. I mean, even though we had APU BCC there for 2 years, it's not like there was a fixed structure that every university blockchain club could kind of follow. And we tried to, build out our own structure and help out, coming clubs like Monash Blockchain, Taylor's Blockchain, and all that, to kind of like form this standard that every blockchain club could use. It was a bit difficult because, we're still students at the time. If you want to get something that's more into university linked, it's a bit more difficult because, of course, universities are not really working together. So this is something we tried to create, as well, which is to build out, university-wide handbook that everybody can use to just start their own blockchain club. But it was a bit difficult because, one, you require a lot of finances and something like that. Because starting a club is not as easy as maybe starting a sports club or starting a tech club, because here we need to attend events, we need to host events, we need to bring in sponsors. And then, if you don't have that initial front, it's a bit difficult to approach them. How we overcame them, we had the help of wonderful companies in the past. I won't go into names, but they definitely did, take a chance on us. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be where we are today. And I think just because of that chance they took, we are where we are.
And we also heard that the SBCC club actually have a set of trading technique, or how you guys manage your kind of a reserve. Is that true?
I can't really talk about that because that one's a little out of scope. It's mainly just handled by the university funds. So the university handles most of funds, as university should. Most of our money and all that is held by the university. And
still held by the university.
Yes, we're not allowed to keep our money by ourselves.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, so they help us manage most of the finances.
And are you still kind of like very involved in the SBCC club?
At the moment, I actually just handed over my presidency to Ali. So if Ali, you're watching this, congratulations, and looking forward to what you do in the future. But right now, I'm still just advising. I've kind of shifted away from that as, I've graduated. Kind of want to just move on to bigger things now.
And I think speaking of graduation, right, I think a lot of the blockchain club participants, one of their key goals is trying to also find out more about career progressions in the Web3 industry. So do you mind kind of like give us a little bit of advice on that? Like, what are the potential way of finding a right career in this space? Or is there any specific thing that they should kind of like explore first before going to this industry to build up their knowledge better?
There are a few parts to this, and I love telling people this because people assume blockchain is a very technical field, but they don't realize that blockchain is an industry. An industry still requires everybody from every field, whether it's law, whether it's marketing, design,
finance,
even the tech, finance. So you don't necessarily have to be a computer science student or have to be software engineering to actually get into blockchain. And one of the main things about being in these different fields is you can use your knowledge from your field plus the knowledge of blockchain and kind of create something new. Whether you're in law, now you can create a new way that the legal system handles blockchain with your knowledge from the legal system and your understanding of blockchain. And one of the advice I can give people is just dive into something that you are very interested in blockchain, and see how you can apply your current skill set to the blockchain industry. Yeah, of course, that's one of the best things you can do.
I think a lot of people have like the wrong perceptions about the industry itself, or feel intimidating because of the technical knowledge. But what we always tell our team is also like, you need to have the technical knowledge in your own industry. But the Web3 knowledge, we can actually supplement you even like within the first 3 months itself. You should be able to pick up from there. Like learn a little bit of trading, or learn about the macro kind of like concept in this industry as a whole. And I think the best way is also working directly with direct associate with like different partners in the space. That's also one of the fastest way to learn as well. But Josh, what do you think about the current Web3 industry? Is it like so bad that people shouldn't come into the space maybe this year, or maybe they should just consider coming in next year? What is your thought on that?
I feel like the bear market only affects things financially. It doesn't affect the underlying tech behind blockchain. And that seems to be kind of like a thing everyone assumes, oh, it's a bear market, I should avoid blockchain, I should pull out all my assets. But I will see the bear market as an opportunity to start building, because now you're building from zero, or you're building from very little funds. So when you have that little funds, you're always trying to find newer ways to do things, find better ways to doing it more efficiently without having to spend that much money. I mean, we've got AI now that helps improve a lot of building opportunities and all that. And that's when the bull market comes in. And now once you've built this brilliant idea in the bear market, you can get the funding during the bull market. So I don't think there's ever a bad time to get into blockchain.
And I think you also had the experience of hosting a lot of events back in HBCC, right? What do you think the students are lacking in terms of like support, or in terms of like, I would think that there are also a lot of student entrepreneurs that are also building their own projects, but what do you think is lacking in their mindset or a system that we can actually try to help out?
I think one of the best things that people can do to help out students especially, which is, yes, as you mentioned, quite lacking, because a lot of people don't take a chance on the students. They assume, oh, they're just students, they're just going to finish their degree, they're just going to finish their studies, and then they're just going to go work a normal job. But they don't realize that these students are the next generation. As we're building the next generation of builders. And if you don't give them the support that they need then,
in
early phase, how are they going to move into these next stages when everybody else currently phases out and they need to take over? So the support that they really need is, how can they do the job that the current generation is doing, but better? This comes in whether they have workshops, they have talks, let them be exposed to the current industry, and with their fresh minds, they can possibly, go against it. They'll be like, oh, why aren't you doing this? You could do this so much better if you did this. And that's the kind of mindsets we need, because these are the students who will come in later and change the game. They're seeing it from fresh minds rather than the same old procedure that everyone's been doing for the past few years.
Yeah, I think speaking of this, the Malaysia Blockchain Week team, we are also working with 6 universities right now that we are potentially hosting a roadshow, like a workshop in different universities. At the same time, we're also thinking about having a volunteer program, bringing them more on the hands-on process where they can actually work direct or associate with this industry through some working experience more on the event side, but also like kind of like handling different speakers during Malaysia Blockchain Week. From there, they can actually have more opportunity to expose to the right people as well. But I think there's also different perspective in the space, because we have been working with a lot of big ecosystems. Some of them are really willing to invest into the grassroots, but some of them doesn't see that it's an imminent ROI for them because it's a long-tail strategy. We do love to see more and more people that would love to share the similar objective that we have. And if you love to talk more about the universities grassroots, reach out to the team. We will be definitely able to bring the right partners along the roadshow as well. But Josh, do you come to the last 2 years of Malaysia Blockchain Week, and how do you find about it?
For all the Malaysia Blockchain Week so far, it's great. I love the initiative that Malaysia itself is doing. We actually positioned ourselves as one of the bigger blockchain countries in the world, with our lovely initiatives from the government as well. Everything that's coming together is great for us, because if we build, then we benefit our society, and not just our society, actually. We benefit everybody outside of Malaysia too. I love the initiative that MYBW is doing.
Thank you. I think maybe a lot of you don't know, there are actually a lot of great projects or unicorns in this industry coming out from Malaysia itself. We have great builders like Etherscan, CoinGecko, Jupiter, Virtuals, Panda Finance, or even the recent Drift protocol is actually also from Malaysia, right? I think one of the key objectives of running Malaysia Blockchain Week is also to inspire more younger generations to build their career or build their entrepreneurship in this industry. And at the same time, we are trying our best to also kind of like put in the relevant or the right supports to grow the next generation in the space. And I think this year we're also trying to work on a lot more in terms of like pitch day, demo day, like hackathon, bring more mentorship into the system itself. What is the kind of like some comments or feedbacks that you generally have for Malaysia Blockchain Week that you think that we should improve for this year?
This year, I feel like last year you did make a great initiative with reaching out to most of the companies in Malaysia and, bringing the community together in one general event. It's not tied specifically to any chain or any specific tech. It's just blockchain as a whole.
Yeah.
And I like the movement that you're doing that's bringing in more of the grassroots, users as well, the students and everybody. And I think that's one of the greater focuses that I wished happened earlier. And I'm glad it's happening now.
Thank you. And I think they share a little bit of changes from that, because I think that is the consistent initiative that we'll still continue on. But this year, I think as the market or regulation clarity is getting more involved, we are also trying to bring in more institutional support or involvement into the space. So recently, there are a lot of big news coming out from Malaysia itself, like our Prime Minister is supporting the stablecoin kind of like Sandbox Asia, and also our Johor Sultan also working on stablecoin in Sandbox. So hopefully this year we are able to bring in more talks or more kind of like sharing or launching sessions during the event itself. So more and more of the Malaysian netizen will be able to kind of like have the first-hand involvement in news, like what they are actually building on and what they are trying to achieve in this market, or what problem they are trying to solve as well. But Josh, what is the narrative that you actually buy in this current market? Because I think there are a lot of things, right? Like they have like a lot of stablecoin talks. There are a lot of RWA, more AIs recently. But aside from that, like, are we around this? Like, is it something that you personally buy, or you think there will be something coming out very soon as well?
I see this as a personal opinion.
Okay.
I'm not really buying into anything, but I have a heavy focus on stablecoins. I really like, because to me at least, I believe stablecoins is the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. This is the digital currency era. I mean, we've already had digital currency, but it's never been as full-fledged as stablecoins. And this is something I'm truly looking forward to in the upcoming year, or maybe in the next 2 years or so, when more and more institutions start to pile onto this.
Yeah, I think it improve a lot of efficiency in terms of like settlement, import, export, even like cross-border payment. We don't actually lose a lot of the currency rate changes in between. So it's definitely something we needed for daily life. At the same time, because of the involvement of AI, I think there are a lot of the innovations needed in terms of like payment, not on for human layer, right? It's more on the AI agents layer. And that also makes stablecoins powerful and useful in this scenario as well.
Yeah.
Josh, I think just now we mentioned about the career progression side, right? Have you seen anybody that actively looking to hire Malaysian, or if there is, what kind of role they are more looking?
I think there are quite a lot of people actually hiring from Malaysia specifically.
There are actually a lot.
Malaysians have one of the greatest benefits of being trilingual. We speak, maybe not even trilingual, it's like 4 languages, Tamil, English, Mandarin, Malay as well.
Different dialect of
different dialects and all that. And it helps cover a lot of the Asian regions. If you speak Mandarin, you can help cover China. And if you speak Malay, you can help with Indonesia and Malaysia, all these different areas. And that's what people love about hiring from Malaysia as well. And of course, we have an amazing work ethic. We love doing new things, creating new things, and being the forefront of technological advancement. So definitely, I know there are people always hiring from Malaysia.
Yeah, I think because it's also very convenient to travel out from Malaysia.
Oh yeah.
Not only to the west. I mean, for Asia, it's definitely super easy, and also Malaysia passport doesn't really require for a lot of visas, and hence why I would say in terms of like careers in Web3, Malaysia definitely have a lot of favoritism for a lot of projects. But in terms of like roles, title, like position, do you think that there are preference in terms of Malaysian?
I don't think there's a very specific preference. You know, besides being really good at different languages, we're also really good at every different role. You know, we have great media people in Malaysia. We have great tech students. We have great business students. I mean, look at all the companies that have come out of Malaysia. You know, it's not, you don't necessarily have to be specific in one thing to be hired in this industry. And I think that's another key point on why people like to hire from Malaysia.
I think a lot of people are also working as like social media manager, a lot of moderators like community managers, a lot of copywriters, like you mentioned, like medias or designers and stuff. I think one thing that really kind of like got me shocked during last year roadshow for Malaysia Blockchain Week. So I went to one of the club for a roadshow, right? And I asked for a raise of hand for students that are already working as intern in the space. And there are actually quite a number of them, like more than 10 of them raised their hand. And speaking of that, most of the company they are working on are very big company in the space as well. Both of us will definitely encourage more of you to take further steps to look into a potential roles, internship in this space. And I think if there are projects that are looking for interns and you do want us to kind of like share the voice out, do reach out to the Malaysia Blockchain Week team. And we are actually also currently compiling a list of them, because I think a lot of the previous sponsors or partners, they are also mentioned that they are looking forward to have an internship program for students to actually work rotationally in the company itself, and then after the graduation they can actually convert into a full-time role. So I think that is something super interesting and happy to see about the progression also. Josh, I think a lot of people will ask about this realistic question also. So people will generally think that working in Web3 get higher pay compared to a traditional position in a Web2 kind of a company, right? What is your take on that?
I think it's true. Definitely there is, you know, higher paying jobs in Web3. Mainly because one, it's a new industry and everybody's kind of pouring money into it. You know, it's the same with the AI industry right now. AI jobs are all in, you know, it'll soon settle down. So one, I tell everyone, get in while you can. Or, you know, just aim for it, because they are still looking for people somewhat with experience. So build up that experience while you're in university, you know, learn about blockchain, then get in. Because, you know, since it's new, they don't really want new people as well. They don't want people with no experience. Now, experience doesn't mean a job. You know, experience can be you just building by yourself as well.
And I think as a hirer in this space also, I think one of the thing that I want to share is also not chasing about the money itself, because in this industry generally, the increment itself or the salary that you'll be paid is actually already higher than the other places that you'll be able to get. But it's also to just focus on your own skill sets, building yourself as a person. Because I think working in this industry, one of the challenge is that most of the time you're required to work remotely, because you are reporting to a US team, you are working together with a APAC team, but scattered around different countries. So your working situation is generally still very remote. But at the same time, you need to be more proactive enough to carry the conversation along. Or you also need to kind of like sometimes work around the clock, because you need to cater to different time zones for the team members that you have in the team. So just to be more flexible about it, and you will definitely be rewarded for that. Because like I think most of the Web3 company nowadays, right, they are not super particular of having you working like from certain fixed hours, or you have to be in office every single day. You can just, like, most of them have unlimited annual leave kind of policy, as long as you're able to finish your own job, you're able to deliver. So it's a great space for everyone to kind of like try it out. So I think last questions for Josh. What is your advice for every single newbie that try to get into this space?
I always say that your network is your net worth. And if you're not out there meeting new people, it's I won't say it's difficult, but you're definitely a step behind. So if you want to meet new people, I'd say head over to MYBW.
Thank you, Josh, for joining us in this episode again. So do check us out for the main event on 29 and 30th of July at WTC KL and reach out to our website. We are still having our early bird tickets right now running at just 59 ringgit. See you all soon in Malaysia Blockchain Week.